Welcome everyone to Plastic Cards Podcast, a show where we break down the video game news of the week. My name is Fonzie and I'm joined by my co-host, indie game dev extraordinaire, lovable man, Gavin Jones. Gavin, how are you doing?
Well, that was sweet that time. I don't...
I didn't have any shit to talk, or I couldn't think of a cool thing to throw under the bus, but how you been?
I've been good. It's been a good couple of weeks. We had despite not going to skydive this weekend,
Yeah.
had a really good weekend.
I guess we could just lie and tell people we did and it was awesome, but it
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, if we're lying, we saw there was a Pegasus as I was falling down.
Yeah.
Somehow my dick grew bigger.
Yeah, mine too. We fought off these gangs in the air too. It's like a Point Break situation. That
Yeah,
pretty fun.
it was a new one. But yeah, I still had an absolute blast. It was
So cool
amazing
trip.
weekend.
Yep, it was cool to go downtown Portland, and a lot of stuff was not closed, but like doing the outdoor seating or like takeout, which is understandable. I think they're in a lower stage than we are here in our town, so they're like 1.5 or 1, and we're 2 now.
Yeah,
it's like less.
but our town doesn't give a fuck. So
Also that, and
Right.
it's a city, so it's like they really have to watch how shit goes down. But yeah, it was still a cool trip. I'm debating whether, unless hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, but if we get too crunk on Halloween, maybe it's out of the picture to go on Sunday. But I still would like to go before the end of the year.
is
But
that still because I plan on, since I was dead last Halloween, although we'll see. Right now allergies are hitting me,
uh-oh.
and also when I come to your house allergies hit me harder somehow,
Hmm.
so I may just
The
die
allergy
again.
seasoning? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, last year I was dying during
Uh.
the Halloween party, so I showed up for all of an hour.
That was your costume, just a dying sick guy. But-
Yeah, it was a zombie. It was great. I actually get to wear my costume that I bought last year, even though my costume isn't that.
It's
Great.
a Ghostbuster, right?
It's a Ghostbuster, yeah, and the jumpsuit is very.
Mm.
Maybe I could find one at work that's better, but I wouldn't have time to get the patches.
Like a hazmat suit or something.
Actually, that might be worth it because
That could be cool.
I bought a nice proton pack.
You'd be the safest person if you just wore your own like oxygen tank, hazmat suit, and you just walk around town like that. But-
do? Are you trying to make it?
Yeah, our dog has serious postpartum issues. But
So she just had a baby.
I think we're the baby, or what would be the opposite equivalent?
Abandonment is
There you
or
go.
not abandonment or separation anxiety. That's the proper
Gotcha.
term.
That's what I diagnosed as well. But other than our failed trip, what you been up to?
That's
Playing
weird.
any games?
You see the the background's changing. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
I just thought it just happened to time out perfectly.
Yeah.
So
And
I
audio-
thought I was a wizard, Harry.
And audio listeners will have no idea what we're talking about. But we get a few people actually listening to the show. Nobody gives a fuck about YouTube, but people actually listen to the show. Like download the audio version. Whether they're just clicking, going nope after 5 seconds, I don't know. It doesn't tell me that, but people are at least listening to it.
What do you mean audio version?
So it's
Gavin doesn't listen to podcasts.
well, the MP3 that goes up,
Mhm.
that actually gets people willing to take a chance. On YouTube, they turn off because I'm not reviewing something or we're not pranking our parents or whatever, so nobody gives a shit. But on audio, people are listening. But so hello, listeners.
We appreciate you.
Yes, and also send us an email or a tweet and let us know, because I would like to get people asking us questions or like getting feedback from what we're talking about. So it's not just us
Yeah.
talking out of our ass. We can hear other people talking out of their ass and kind of sniff each other's asses and go that route.
You know, the tricky bit with that is I remember doing that when I was Twitch streaming, and like it sounds weird, but you won't get people to give you feedback. Often I found, because it's like the people that want to sit back and be quiet and just listen.
Sure,
That's not what they're there for. They're not here to. So I doubt anything.
I get that.
But if you do feel comfortable, absolutely feel free.
Especially talk whatever shit about Gavin, roast his wardrobe, whatever you want to do.
It's very roastable.
But any games? I actually got to play a good amount this week, but what'd you play?
Did you? All right.
I jumped around.
I don't think I played
Very much.
actually anything. I don't think I played literally anything all week.
Yeah.
I am tonight. I downloaded it last night, but I didn't play it. Goner 2.
That's a real game?
Yeah, Goner Gonner 2.
Okay.
Is I don't know what the difference. I need to play it, so I didn't play that much of Goner 1, but I really couldn't tell you what the difference between this. Maybe you can fire at an angle now. I'm not sure, but Goner 1 just had this. It had the same really cool looking look.
This looks
to it,
really cool.
right? It's very trippy. I think there's co-op now. There may have been co-op on the first one. I'm not sure. But it's just got this really cool, weird art style. It is a very difficult roguelite, in my opinion. I thought it was very difficult. The camera is more pulled back this time, which I think is probably going to allow them to make the enemy patterns and a lot of stuff more difficult.
Yeah.
But I mean, just this game.
This reminds me a lot, or at least with the type of gameplay, anyways. But Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2,
Sure.
did you ever play those?
Yeah,
Those are
very,
super fun.
very different. But I do kind of get that weird style that you're saying. Like, even though it's very different,
You're not shooting; it's like
stylistically,
melee combat and stuff. But I just
Yeah.
got slight vibes. But
it's got that juice.
there you go.
And
That's a game we should play. There's a lot of games we should play together, but that's one I think we could get down on because I have
it's full
both of them.
co-op. Yeah.
And I beat the first one on like Vita and PS3, and I love that first game. But this looks really cool too.
Yeah, so I want to check this one out. I don't think you could aim in directions last time, so that must be a new thing.
Oh, okay.
So they pull back the camera.
So just like the tunnels, there's like a llama that eats you and sends you to a next level, like the tunnels of Mario kind of thing.
And I want to say in the original, like if you didn't land a bullet, okay, so you can see your ammo's draining in this one. You had far less bullets in the first one, I think. And then you had to handle like if you killed an enemy, then it dropped a bullet, which there's a bullet dropped. I don't know. It had a very weird and unique ammo mechanic,
or bullets, as my nephew calls them. That's he tends to say everything wrong, and one of them is bullets. And you'll correct him and be like, "It's bullets." Yeah, that's what I said, and then he'll just like keep going to something else.
Where did you find this?
I don't know. I'll take him back where we found him. That's cool. Yeah, I'm interested to see what you think of this game because it looks really dope. This is on PC, I imagine. This would be perfect on Switch too.
Yeah, yeah. It popped up on Game Pass. I didn't even know it was coming out.
Game Pass. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so gonna get my money's worth of Game Pass
for sure.
Yeah,
nice.
What about you? Which are we talking at all about? Like some of the, I know we kind of covered. No, we did cover that last week with the. Did we with the Microsoft? Maybe we didn't with the streaming service coming to like browsers so they can kind of sneak it on.
Yeah, there's a little bit more of a like not news, but like maybe what they were the direction they could take it, but that is in the docket too. But yeah, I did play some stuff. I got to play Doom.
Oh, right. The DLC, I liked your little thing you put on video. Twitter. That was pretty fun.
I wanted to quantify just how awesome this DLC is in Ancient Gods. But yeah, like as soon as you start, it throws you into just a smorgasbord of enemies, like right from the get go. All the weapons carry over, so you just get to start shooting and having a blast. And it's really fun. There's a huge focus on platforming, which might not be in this footage that we're watching, but yeah, there's a lot of platforming. And it's just nuts. And there's new enemies and playing on PC. So it just looks fucking beautiful and really digging it. And I just love this game so much. And so the more content, the better. There's a series of DLC. This is episode 1. So there's going to be other episodes a part of this too. But
how did it, like, story-wise, do you feel like it connected very well to...
Yeah, it's just more of the game. So you kind of wreck shit when it comes to like this heaven area in the first one or the in Doom Eternal. So you're dealing with those repercussions and you're fighting a lot of those enemy types in this one too. But the gameplay's super smooth. It's because it's been a couple months, I had to get used to or try and remember all the mechanics. Like say that the super shotgun has that slingshot or that one mechanic where it pulls you, and just like maneuvering your player around and dealing with like how do you get more ammo, how do you get more health. That's all part of the gameplay. Just had to snap back into it. But once I did, having a blast.
The area you're in right here kind of gives me vibes of Destiny 2. I want to say it was like the starting area.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. You played that game, right?
Yeah, I did play a lot of Destiny 2 when it first came out, and I dug it. I haven't played any of the expansions. I don't know if I have a desire to. But,
it takes so many hours to grind up and get gear to be able to play it.
And I'm so behind on all that grinding and stuff. But that's one game I would like to get back into. Maybe with the next gen consoles, because they're all going to play at 4K and 60 frames and stuff. And I think the original did too. But yeah, so that's one on my list. But yeah, I'm loving it. I tend to do this a lot lately where I'll play a couple hours of something and I'll jump to something else. And I may never touch it again. I don't think that's the case with Doom. But a lot of games lately, I'll play for a bit and then I'll play something else. And it's rare that I finish something these past couple months. But this is one I'm definitely going to finish.
Nice, dude.
But yeah, I played that. Let's see. I wrote it down, what I actually played. Yeah, I jumped around too. So Phoenix Rising, there was a Stadia demo.
Really?
Yeah.
I
So
didn't know
Immortals
that.
Phoenix Rising, it's dope. And so it's basically Zelda meets Assassin's Creed. It's that same kind of like fluidity, how you're moving around with Assassin's Creed. It's open world, but it has the same vibes of a Zelda.
I didn't know it was made by like some of the same devs.
It might
Like a
be.
lot of the same devs. Yeah, I
It's
guess.
Ubisoft game, but it might be a lot of those people that carried over or that transferred.
Yeah.
It's got that same kind of blood in it. But this is on Stadia. So I first played on my laptop and it ran like shit. It was like maybe 15 frames a second or something. So I gave up. A couple days ago, I played it on my computer. It shouldn't be any difference, but maybe my internet was a little better. So we're watching PC footage, so it's super fluid. But the Stadia gameplay doesn't look that far different from this. There wasn't a lot of input lag. It still ran really great. It looks beautiful. The mechanics are pretty solid. It's one thing that's weird is the dodge is the X button. So I'm constantly trying to attack, but then I dodge on accident. So it's just getting used to the different, way they map the controls. But it's really cool. This is definitely on my radar when it comes out, like on a legit, console release. But I think I would avoid Stadia at the moment. But yeah, it's really fun and really unique. I cannot wait to play more of this game. But if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed, yeah, you'll love this game because it's dope. And then it has a lot of the same Breath of the Wild kind of vibes. There's the similar puzzle mechanics and physics going on, and you can really go anywhere. You can fly anywhere.
It's kind of crazy how this game kind of it both looks generic, but also it looks fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, I think because of that cell shaded kind of Fortnite, aesthetic, it's able to, it does kind of blend in where it doesn't pop maybe as much as it could, but there's this, at the same time, it does look unique. It does have this, I think the graphics can have some legs because it's not super detailed. It looks more cartoony.
Yeah.
But no, it's really cool, and I'm excited to see. This is just the demo, so it was like first 20 minutes, but it's pretty cool.
I'm super down. I really love the concept, though. Again, they're like people are playing this on Stadia. That's such a perfect way to demo.
Yeah.
Because nobody can data mine it.
Interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, you can't just go into the game's files.
Oh, okay.
And find stuff that you're not supposed to find.
Very true.
Can't be
not that I'm smart enough to do that, but other people could do that, I guess.
Right. I mean, even I did that with like the demo for Crisis when it first came out. Just looked
to see what's in there.
Crazily enough, I want to say like the level editor was in the
demo.
The demo for.
That's interesting. How do they? That must be when they're just dev wise. Like when is it like a vertical splice or something that's a common term, where they will section off to create the demo? But is it just easier to leave files in there rather than like take them out?
Make the game not run. I think we've gotten better now at making stuff more modular. Certainly, you look at like that it's getting more common to make it so like your multiplayer component can be downloaded separately from your single player component. And you still need the same menu to run both, so you have that third component.
Gotcha. And if you just take stuff out, it's gonna mess stuff up behind the scenes, I'm sure.
Yeah, so you can do that now. These enemies look interesting to fight.
They're really cool, yeah. And then the last thing I got to try for another good 3 hours was Fallout 76 Wastelander. So I made sure beforehand, but it's this separate DLC. So if you have Fallout 76, this is something you can buy and it works with it. But otherwise, you can buy this and it's standalone, where you don't need to have the base model of the game. It just has a single player component, but it's the entire game, and you can play it alone or with friends, but you don't have to rely on a party. And there's actual NPCs. They talk to you, they walk around, you get quests from them, like similar to a normal Fallout game. And it's dope. I think I prefer this versus the first time I played Fallout 76, and there's just no life to it. You have to depend on people. But yeah, it's makes me feels like a regular Fallout game. It's pretty cool.
I really should play through that. It'd be weird.
I'd recommend getting this version and playing it.
It would be weird playing a Fallout game where you actually have to grind.
And it's heavy in this one too, because you really have to grind. You don't get much to start with, and you have to. They still shoehorn in that whole like build shoehorn. They still shoehorn in that building component where you have to like make a base and build stuff, and which I don't prefer, but it's in there. I still just like the ability to just let me run around and figure stuff out, and you do for sure in this game.
I think in a game where it is kind of survival based, it's appropriate to have a
they
base.
focus on that.
And the fact that you can just pack it up and put it wherever. Oh, that's a cool way of starting a mission.
Yeah, there's these petrified corpses. So the game takes place like right after the bomb drops, maybe like 10 years or whatever after the bomb drops. So everything's still heavily radiated, and there's these people you'll see that are captured in time because they were outside when the blast hit. So their bodies are there, but like stuff is still growing out of them. And as you walk to them, they just decompose in front of you, and they're still radioactive, so you can't touch them. But there's a lot of cool stuff like that. We're watching footage of this cat that's just like waiting for its owner, which is super sad. But somehow the cat's fine. But the world is super beautiful. That's one thing that my big takeaway was that because in the story everything's still growing and still there's still life out there, although radiated. It's crazy beautiful. It's this fall landscape, so everything's all the colors pop. It just looks crazy beautiful. And yeah, I just wish this was full single player, but this is the best we can get until they actually rework it and do the next Fallout, which you have to imagine will be fully single player. But yeah, this is their attempt at like a Destiny thing, which worked for some people. It didn't work for me, but I'm liking the single player component.
Now this has, I mean, I'd still say it's very like as far as live service games go, this one sounds very, very different, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is different.
It's still that massive open world,
right?
Which is, I guess, more closer to an MMO, but this is very much not an MMO. I guess one question I'd have, so you have a beefy rig, and I assume you had this maxed out on it. How does this look compared to Fallout 4?
It's same engine, right? But it is improved. A lot of the animations too. So we're looking at NPC. A lot of them, when they're talking, they're moving around. They're just more animated, and it's still not night and day from like another single player game. But it's better than what Fallout has been able to do. But I'm actually playing this on Xbox. So this is I bought the DLC through there. So and it runs great on Xbox. There is a little bit of chug sometimes when you're walking around where the frame rate will dip, but runs really good. You can tell this is just that this is the same modified engine, but it is modified to a better degree. But we talked about before. I can't wait until they throw all that out of the window in the garbage, burn it, and work on a new engine. I don't know if they're still going to just keep
the same engine since Morrowind.
Yeah, and maybe we talk. Sometimes I go back and forth. Like if we talk too much shit, because this engine is still beautiful, it still works. It just has a lot of issues. So is it worth it for them to just throw this out of the window, or just keep improving and actually make like a legit version of this engine?
I mean, people can continue to improve their engine and make it look better.
Yeah,
Valve is on the same. The source, they call it source 1, source 2.
I think source 2 just came out.
Yeah, or source 3 or whatever. Like it's all based on the same thing. Like it they're building upon this thing, but they had a solid foundation.
Right.
They didn't build. Their foundation has been crumbling since it came out. So
a bit, but then you look at Skyrim. For all the issues Skyrim had, it still was crazy fun. So
it was fun, but it was buggy and broken, and probably not that easy to develop. Whereas you look at Outer Worlds,
true,
and that was not very buggy. It had a lot of fun.
That's Unreal. I think that they like one of the latest Unreals they used. Yeah, it's interesting. But I am hoping that they really just go to the drawing board and you'd have to imagine for that Skyfall or whatever that one space game is. I keep blanking on the name. You have to imagine Starfield. For that. Yeah, Starfield. Because you mentioned like they were only going to tackle this unless they had the right tech, because they were so far ahead of the game of what they wanted to do with that game that you have to imagine that's going to be a new engine and not just a modified version of this thing. Yeah. But yeah, this is a cool game, and I'm interested to actually play more. I just haven't been sitting down and committing to a lot of games lately. I did jump back into Ghost of Tsushima too, because there's an update. I didn't play the multiplayer because there's like the Legends multiplayer.
I hear it's really fun.
It looks really cool. I talked to Callum and he really dug it. It had some issues, but he overall thought it was cool. That's one I need to play more of. And that's another crazy, beautiful game that is just nuts how fast it loads too. And there's just like really no issues with that. But I played just a sniff of that game, really not much.
Just a hot sniff.
Just a hot sniff. But yeah, as far as games, that's all I played. We can jump into some news, Gavin. We got Devolver Digital by Serious Sam developer Croteam. This is Wesley LeBlanc of IGN. Devolver Digital has purchased Serious Sam developer Croteam. Devolver Digital announced today that having worked together for over a decade, the decision has been made to bring the two companies together, with Devolver joking in its announcement blog post that they had decided to get married. Croteam and Devolver Digital have been dating for so long that we decided to go ahead and just get married, the blog post reads. Despite the acquisition, Devolver says Croteam will maintain total creative freedom, although Devolver still plans to keep making dumb recommendations that Croteam just ignores. But their latest one has been Serious Sam 4, which I love the Serious Sam games in the past. I haven't played this new one, but I know it launched on Stadia first and people had issues with that. I want to play this on PC for sure. But the game looks cool. We're looking at footage of it now. I just haven't actually got the chance to play it.
I hear it is very hard to run.
Interesting.
which was crazy because it came out at the same time as like another game that Star Wars. So people were expecting Star Wars to run harder or be harder to run, and it ran just fine on even far simpler machines. My machine could probably run Star Wars, and then this came out and it's just
not optimized.
Yeah. Well, I think it's optimized. I think part of it's optimized, but it's just how much they're really demanding of your machine. But it could be optimization issues. I don't know. They said they were pretty proud of how much chaos they were getting on screen at once, and that is a very big part. God, it's just moving so fast. It looks like it's in slow motion or fast motion.
Right, because of the speed and how the animations and stuff. Yeah, that's the thing with the series, that what makes it Serious Sam is that they throw so many different enemies at you at once, like just like a sea of them. So, and this first part of the game looks a bit more like Counter-Strikey. It looks kind of not like a Serious Sam game, but I haven't played it to actually tell. But it looks
the
at least
HUD and the gun and the gloves.
Yeah, something like that. I think that's giving me those vibes. But I love the original games. I think I played them on Xbox first, like the original Xbox, and they're just cool. It's just kind of like turn your brain off, shoot a bunch of enemies, and they're fun. But yeah, I think that's a great acquisition for Devolver. I think that Devolver has more good relationships with developers, but not like acquiring devs, right? I feel like they more like work and
right. This may be their first acquisition.
It might be. I didn't look that up, but I feel like they don't have much under their belt, but they have under their umbrella rather like a ton of devs.
And that being said, well, as far as devs though, that being said, they don't necessarily publish like a dev's every game. Like
true.
The last game from Vlambeer, right? Which I made the mistake of, but it wasn't published by Devolver, even though Devolver done, I think, every game up until that point. If the game doesn't necessarily fit Devolver's niche,
sure,
then, they don't need to publish it.
That's a cool way to go because they can kind of pick and choose. And if they make more of a traditional game, then they can decide, it's not for us. We want to keep the weirdness going, like the Portland version of game devs. But I like that they can pick and choose that kind of stuff. But
that being said, they've also done some arty stuff, and I think that's really cool. I mean, they made Fall Guys, which is, I would say Devolver, Fall Guys is probably the least Devolver-y game of all, but
I can see both sides of that. Yeah, it's maybe more of an approachable, but because it's so. But I think it was in the news months ago where that team, they went to a lot of different publishers and nobody wanted to touch them. And Devolver's like, yeah, we'll take you guys. And of course, that was a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I do wish it got a bigger spotlight in that like neat little game that was made for E3.
Oh, right.
But it still got a decent spotlight.
Gotcha. Nice, Gavin. So we got that happened this week. We got Phil Spencer hints at Xbox Game Pass streaming sticks for your TV, no console required. This is more of a what could happen in the future, but Joe Screbbles of IGN has the article. Head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, has raised the idea of releasing streaming sticks as part of the Xbox Game Pass, which could be used to stream games through Xcloud after being plugged into the TV. Speaking to The Verge, Spencer explained, I think you're going to see lower priced hardware as part of our ecosystem when you think about streaming sticks and other things that somebody might want to just plug into their TV and play via Xcloud. You can imagine us even having something that we just included in the Game Pass subscription that gave you an ability to stream Xcloud games to your television and buying a controller. It's worth pointing out that Spencer is speaking somewhat hypothetically at this point, but it wouldn't be a surprise to see Microsoft leverage its streaming resources beyond high-priced consoles and smaller screen mobile devices. That's a great idea. I feel like that is a direction they're going, where they're trying to make it, especially with the Xbox Series S, they're trying to get cheap hardware where you can just stream the experience of Game Pass anyways and just play the game. I would absolutely be on point or on board for them doing that.
I mean, this is one more step in taking away like the smallest of advantages that Amazon has. Like you could probably, I'm sure Amazon will block it from streaming to an Amazon Fire Stick, but they could make some equivalent to the Amazon Fire Stick.
Right.
Probably cost $60. The controller's what, 60, 70?
Yeah.
I mean,
that
that's
tech is so cheap.
Yeah. God, look how small the Series S is. That's very small.
Yeah, they put out this, and we're watching this footage of, I think this just came out today. They're just showing you boot up the Xbox Series S and the X. It's the little promo video, but showing just the first things you'll see when you boot this stuff up. But I love this idea. If they were actually able to send you a stick, you plug it in, and it's just for xCloud, that would be a great response to, you mentioned Amazon has something like that, where they have at least the stick. They have their own games that they're working on. You have Stadia, which has... through use of the Google Chrome little dealio. They have that, so why not? And Sony doesn't really have an answer to this thing besides you need a box physically still to stream their games. But yeah, that's a great idea. I could definitely see them do this in the future. Yeah. Although this, as they go this route, the obvious thing that they keep avoiding is getting Xcloud on Switch. There's been rumors for a long time, but it seems like they don't have the real interest to get it there.
I mean, the Switch has a browser.
It does. I wonder if it would work through there.
It's a theory. That was another cool article I saw. I don't know if we're covering this, but they mentioned that for some games, and I should really go check them out. But that's been a problem with the phone version. Is I don't have one of your fancy dangle Xbox One controllers.
Oh, okay.
So I can't really play any of these games. And they've introduced, what was it, like 10 games with dedicated touchscreen controls.
Oh, okay.
One of them being Killer Instinct for why?
So this is through your phone then?
Yeah, but why would you play KI on your phone via cloud? That's going to be the worst way to play KI. But you can do it.
Right.
The option's there, and Slay the Spire would work phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenally. But that's one more option. And if you allow these developers, and I thought, well, I don't want to speak for something I'm not sure on, but if they do encourage these developers to allow this as just an option, I don't think it'd be that hard to do. That's just one more way for people to play your games, especially if it's on Game Pass. What a big deal.
You don't even need a controller. You can just play around the phone. Yeah.
You can play it. You can play it on your stick. You can play it on your phone, play it on your PC.
Although a lot of Bluetooth controllers that everything recognizes, whether it's phones or what have you, even like the Switch, like a lot of them are super cheap now, where it's just a standard Bluetooth connection and it just reads it and it works fine. So that stuff's already cheap enough. But yeah, if you could just let people play through their phone, which a lot of these games, why would you? Because you mentioned it'd be the worst fucking experience. But if you want to, if you're on a train or something, there you go.
Well, not with. I mean, maybe once 5G 5G becomes more popular. Sure. I don't know how the latency is. That would be my concern. That's why they're saying Wi-Fi so far. But
true, yeah.
I know 5G has a hella fast download speed. It probably doesn't have the best upload speed.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that's the next frontier, but we'll see with 5G. But I have no idea.
But hell, people can still play Fortnite on their phones while driving around. So
that's what I do. We got some news about Among Us. They had an interesting weekend. Among Us suffers attack by apparent pro-Trump hacker 3 days after AOC's hit Twitch rally. So this is Abram
AOC's
Brown.
Hit Twitch rally.
Yeah, so the AOC, I forget her name, but that's the shortening of it. She had this huge stream playing Among Us, which had like a crazy amount of downloads. But after that, yeah. So
wow.
That was like Tuesday, Wednesday. After that, there was this huge attack on the servers.
I kind of want to watch this.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It got a huge amount of streams too. So as far as the actual attack that happened over the weekend, as of last Thursday night, the hugely popular video game Among Us is under attack from an apparent pro-Trump hacker going by the identity of Eris Loris, seemingly drawing the nom de Gruer from a Greek goddess of discord and strife. Innersloth, the company behind Among Us, confirmed that the hack in a tweet on Thursday and sent another message over Twitter that indicated was continuing early Friday evening. I butchered that. The hacker bombarded Among Us players with pro-Trump propaganda messages through the game's chat function. The hack's extent goals aren't clear right now. The Trump spam is clearly meant to tweak and prod at the game's young audience, a demographic that theoretically would be far more likely to support Biden, and was clearly interested in seeing AOC play the game on Tuesday. Beyond the goosing, the Eris Loris messages did contain links to a Discord channel, a website, and a YouTube channel. The hacker set up videos and texts across those platforms that seem half gibberish, half like references to video game cheat methods. Eris Loris would not comment for the story when a direct message was sent to what appears to be the hacker's official Twitter account. So they were hacked. It's a bummer because this game is huge right now. Of course, that's where you would go if you're going to hack something, but a lot of people just want to play the game, and they got these weird messages stopping them from or taking them out of the game through that chat function. But I'm not sure if this is a response to AOC's huge stream, but it seems to coincide with that. But also, yeah, right?
Yeah.
But also, it's just the biggest game right now, so that's where people are going to go to hack into it. But yeah, it's weird. It's a bummer.
She looks like she's having so much fun.
Oh, yeah. So I haven't watched the stream, but I heard nothing but good things. I think that's the future, too, with getting just more notable people playing games and normalizing it. And she's a younger person, so it's like, yeah, no doubt that she's going to be playing this. and it's a good way to just connect with people. Of course, she's like the first political person to really play a game like this and stream it, which is also a big deal too. So it's cool to see that happen, and I'm sure we're going to see other political people when they run for office or any kind of position. They're going to just be streaming, and it's a way to connect with people, and it should be a no-brainer. But we have so many old people in office. They're like, what's a Nintendo? I don't know, how am I going to stream this thing? What's streaming? So they're not interested at all. But meanwhile, she's connecting directly to people.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so that
this would be a great way to tell how good a liar a politician is.
True. Playing playing this. Oh yeah.
Oh man, that this actually reminds me. There was an article I saw, and I want to say it was NPR a while ago, about talking about Nazi modern day Nazi recruitment tools.
Oh, okay.
And one of the biggest
YouTube?
things, not YouTube, but like Rainbow Six Siege and Fortnite was another big one. Really? So these kids will, these kids will be playing these games, and these kind of older adults are like, bring them into their crew and are helping them like win these games, and like kind of like normalizing some of the stuff they say, and they do it slowly and they do it subtly, but no, it's a legit thing.
Like, don't you hate other races? I guess so, man. I just want to do my Fortnite dance, and they just like slowly infiltrate their brains and affect them.
You know why we lost that match?
Yeah. That's so weird and fucked up, but that's the thing. It's the internet. And so, yeah, everyone's going to use these new tools to affect kids and like normalize stuff like you were saying. But yeah, very strange. It's up to those, whether it's a game or it's on Twitch, those moderators to control that and try and stop people from spreading any kind of hate, really. But yeah, but that's the future. That's the next battle, really.
This is another great thing. I saw this in a video recently talking about Among Us. One of the greatest things is like, and I don't know if she plays games or not, but like this is such a good game for non-gamers. You can play it on your phone. You can pick it up in 2 seconds and then just start lying to your friends.
Yeah. I think she is a pretty modern gamer. Like she was playing or tweeting about Animal Crossing for a while. I know that. And even with Animal Crossing, there's a big they had a big thing with Biden where he had this like, I don't know anything about Animal Crossing, but like this party chat thing where people could jump in and see his world. And they couldn't interact, but they could just like, they hosted something through that. And so at least the Democratic Party is using more of those tools to talk with the youth, the kids. And I don't think Trump has any interest in that at all. I don't know what the fuck they'd be using because they have an older demographic for sure. So I think it's just not going to work for them.
It'd be interesting to see like the Republican side get into it, like play a game with like Moscow Mitch and see how that.
Who's Moscow Mitch? Is that a
Mitch
streamer?
McConnell?
Oh, gotcha. Did you see he's like falling apart? Like his hands are all purple and stuff. Did you see footage of that or videos?
Yeah, I don't.
What the fuck? Is he turning into the Emperor on Star Wars where he's just.
I don't know why he wouldn't just say he fell down.
That's what it seems like. But he's like, yeah, I'm all good. No, I'm stronger now. Like, I don't know what his.
Right.
I was lifted in the corner. That's why my skin is purple.
You know what? The couch is fully in the way of. What's her name?
AOC's face. Yeah, right. But it's so much to like move the screen around. So you just have to imagine. Her awesomeness is right behind us. So.
Dude, I would have played the fuck out of this game with the notorious RGB.
Oh, damn. Yeah. RIP, RGB.
She would be fun.
Yep. But yeah, that happened. I imagine they're dealing with that attack, but what were you saying?
I thought of a Republican I would play the shit out of this game with.
Who?
The Nooch.
Newt Gingrich?
No. He was like the press secretary of Donald Trump for like a whole 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, then he pieced out. Okay.
Yeah. He was hilarious. Yeah. I'd play the shit out of this game with that guy. Oh my god.
Go for it. He might be sitting on his computer right now.
Right. I'm the Nooch.
Gavin, this game is just cool. I thought we could talk about it, but it came out today. It's called The Red Lantern.
I heard good things.
Yeah, so I definitely want to try this on PC. It's on Switch. You get to pet dogs. So you'd venture across Alaska with adorable sled doggies, managing resources and trying to survive the elements. But this is the little trailer here. And it just looks really like ambient and beautiful, but there's still like survival stuff going on. You have to deal with enemies and the elements and stuff.
Is that, what's her name voicing that?
This voice is familiar. I'm not sure who. While we're looking at it, I can Google that.
Sounds kind of like Anthony Bird. Or not.
Like a well-known voice actress? Right?
Yeah, something Birch. Not Anthony Birch. That's her sister. I can't keep my words right.
Is there two sisters? Does she have a sister that also does voice acting?
No.
I'm going to Google Red Lantern.
Unless her sister-in-law does it, but I don't think so.
It's all in the family there. Ashley Birch.
Was it her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
She has a very distinctive
Right.
voice. So that's the main character of Horizon Zero Dawn as well.
Yeah, damn. And that's cool. This is more of an indie title, so I like that she's really picking whatever projects. But yeah, you're surviving in the wilderness, and you got these doggies. I know that some of them can die, and you can turn that feature off.
You better fucking not.
Well, I don't want to
die on me.
Right. So I don't want to lose these little doggies. But yeah, it looks really cool. Just be out in the wilderness with these pups. I wouldn't mind like a VR version of this too.
Oh yeah. That might give you too much of an advantage. What the fuck? Oh, it's a skunk. No. Oh no.
Nice. It seems like it's a mixture of point and click and actually maneuvering around the world.
Huh. Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting.
It looks awesome. So that came out today on Switch and PC.
That's on Switch?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think it can handle this for sure.
Interesting.
So yeah, the Red Lantern came out today. Looks fucking awesome. Cannot wait to try that, to play that. This is also an update on, do you remember Nick DiPaolo? This is one of the first indie devs we talked to almost a month ago. His project is coming out soon. So this is Adam's Ascending. We talked to him a while ago. He was still working on this game, and it's a project of his he's been working on for a while. So he put out this video, and it's coming into, let's see, November 2nd on Steam. And we have a little trailer going on. And I know he partnered with a musician to do the music, like a legit musician to do the music in the background.
This looks nothing like what he showed us.
We've seen parts of it, bits and parts of it, and it's been a year. So yeah, I think he's really fleshing out the campaign and the world. And you're on this planet, and there's all this kind of foliage and different biomes and stuff. Foliage. We talked to him about, I think at the same time, Death Stranding had came out, and I was picking his brain about that because he's a huge Kojima fan. And I get vibes of like the moodiness. I think he's trying to go for that same kind of feel. I get that same influence with this.
Man, This man went to the shoe store and got all the polish.
I think you have to pull all the stops for the trailer too. And yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah, I can't tell like story-wise what's going on, but I think that's the point, keeping it kind of vague, much like a Kojima game, and having you experience what's going on in the game. And there's all this like just stuff representing other stuff, you know, with the iconography and the statues. I think there's gonna be a lot of layers in how he's telling the story. That music for sure gives me Metal Gear vibes.
Yeah. Is this the intro then? This just feels like an intro.
Intro, possibly trailer / but very soon, November 2nd, it's going on Steam. I think this is part 1. I think he's going to do parts releasing on this game. Oh. But yeah, can't wait to play it. It was dope to talk to him about it. So yeah.
Fascinating.
Be cool to get him on again a year later, see how the development went.
Yeah.
What we got?
That reminds me of, by the way, so you mentioned, what's it called, came out. There's another game that came out, that Sword Ninja game.
Not Blade Runner. Ghost Runner?
Yeah, Ghost Runner.
It got really good reviews too.
Yeah, I hear good things. So apparently I need to, again, upgrade my PC.
Right.
I have so many games to play, Fonzie. What do I do once I actually get this thing?
It's first world problems for sure, yeah. I played the demo and I wasn't turned off because the game is crazy, awesome, and beautiful. It was just the whole like instant death part of it.
Right.
I didn't expect that, so I had to kind of bend my mind around it. But they'd want you have multiple paths, but they want you to figure out your path and then you execute this line of enemies. But it's really cool. The whole dodging, the sword mechanics is crazy bloody, and it's pretty awesome. But yeah, they're getting like 9s, 10s from a lot of outlets. So the rest of the game must be pretty solid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think there's RTX stuff going on too. It ran really well on my PC, so yeah, that's coming out or came out.
Humble brag. Look at you. No, I mean it's nice to see. You really don't see first person. Like I call these super hards, where like you die and you instantly go again, and it's hard every time. So you really don't. I don't know of a first person super hard aside from maybe Cluster Truck, but I don't know if I want to count that.
Yeah, interesting. So we got some PS5 news, Gavin. We just got really a lot of controller footage. So a bunch of influencers have the PS5, and what they got to take apart first was the controller. So we have a lot of footage of the controller and just getting a sense of how it feels. This is Austin Evans, huge YouTuber, got to go through it. So I'm going to scrub through. I know he has a size comparison, so that with the PS4 with the PS5 controller side by side. And what's interesting is this is now, it's just a Bluetooth controller, so it will work with your phone. So you can play, and they do it in the video, Xcloud with this thing. I think he has Logic on FaceTime. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that.
I was going to say, is this Logic? But
or him. It has a splitting image of him.
Those, are they brothers? What is...
I think Logic's still streaming, right? I haven't heard much about his streams, but he had made a deal with Twitch. But yeah, so they're picking apart. At one point, so he's playing Xcloud with the DualSense. So it registers as a normal Bluetooth controller, but at one point they start taking it apart with no previous knowledge. They just start messing with it, and they disassemble it.
Hopefully they know what they're doing.
I don't think they do, because there's no like YouTube video they can watch, because it's just they're the only ones that have it, really, or a small group. But it looks like, so in the video they mentioned it doesn't tear down the easiest. You can get to the battery, but beyond that, you can't really, unless you know what you're doing, mess with it. But like, yeah, there's a lot of delicate plastic going on. But I do like to paint stuff, so I'm hoping that it's easy enough so I can take the shell off and paint it. But
I don't know about this one.
Yeah, what's interesting too is like he mentions the behind the triggers, so the vibration thing, that's the whole adaptive triggers. There's like this little plastic dealio, beefy plastic behind it. And so that's what's doing, I think, a lot of the haptic stuff, holding the trigger back, whether it's like a bow or when you're switching gears. So that part is what's been advanced in this DualSense. But yeah, and they got 2 mics, so you can just voice chat through the mic. And because of the 2 mics, it can cancel out audio, so you don't have to worry about it picking up other stuff in the room.
I'll believe it when I hear it.
That's true. Yeah, we don't know how this works. They're just showing it off, but yeah, we'll see when they actually test this thing. But we got, what, 2 weeks now?
Man,
2.5 weeks?
I don't love the concept of every single 9-year-old having a mic.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to stay away from Call of Duty, basically. That's where they're all going to be in Fortnite. But yeah.
PUBG.
Right. Just talking
called
shit.
The N-word more times than I know what to do with.
Yeah. Well, that's 2020, man. I don't know what to do about it. But
told the elaborate ways these youngins have bangeth my mom.
But yeah, we got some. And then also in honor of PlayStation, I'm wearing my PlayStation 2 hoodie because the PlayStation 2 released 20 years ago on October 26th. It hit American stores. Do you have any PS2 memories? Did you have friends, or did you try and get the PS2? Did you have any like recollection of when that launched, when it came out?
No, not when it came out. I remember my mom was dating this rich guy at the time, and his son had a PS2. So I definitely was like spending, like when we go stay at his place, I'd spend all my time playing Grand Theft Auto 3 on
nice.
the PS2.
Yep. And you're like, you can be my dad. I get to play Grand Theft Auto. I'm all set.
I think I probably played that for like I probably packed in like 24 hours in one weekend, and I didn't know there were missions. I didn't know there was a story. Yep. I just loaded up his son's save and was just running around murdering people, trying to see how high I could get my stars up, and then I'd die, and then I'd start it all again. And like one time I walked into this bathroom and a story mission started up. I'm like, what is this? That's not what I'm playing for.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because especially with Grand Theft Auto, it's the first time where you can really just run around and do whatever you want. So that's especially when you put those missions to the side and just explore that sandbox part of it. Yeah. But that was one banger of a game to come out on that PS2 era, was Grand Theft Auto. That really changed everything, or the third, anyways. But I have been reading stuff about the launch window, the launch series of games for the PS2. I guess it had a really bad launch window or series of games. So
they have Yazak Week, Y2K Week.
Well, this is an old article, or like a flashback kind of thing. But scrolling down, so this is from Games.av Club. So they had Armored Core 2 launching there, Dynasty Warriors 2, ESPN Winter X games. There's just a lot of, I guess it kind of goes down as one of the worst launch series of games for the PS2. Oh. But they had some of the biggest games that came out later, like Grand Theft Auto 3 came out a year later. But as far as the games that came out, it wasn't too good. Eternal Ring from Software, Evergrace from Software, I never heard of that. Fantavision, that banger.
That was supposed to be cool, right?
Was it? I don't know. Gun Griffin Blaze, never heard of it, but that
we're gonna need to look at that trailer real quick.
Let's watch it.
Just a quick old scrubberooski through.
It looks like a Mechasol kind of thing going on.
This was like the mech system right here.
But it's funny how we'll constantly now with launches, we'll talk shit about launches. But really, it used to be real bad back in the day. Kessen, Koi, I never heard of that. Midnight Club Street Racing.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I know Midnight Club 2 I did play, and it was pretty dope, but this is the first one there. Also Smugglers. Okay, so MotoGP.
Can you scroll up? Like, I don't know how it looks like, that may have just been yellow light in the background, but from here, like, it looks like there's a reflection of the cab off of the other car, but that's totally not what it is.
Oh, I think that RTX back then. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Originally in the
Orphans, Cue Ball Billiards. So that's pretty dope.
That guy, like that little window art of that guy, looks like this is definitely like a hentai sex game.
Yeah, they might remaster this as a hentai sex game. They got Ridge Racer. What, 5?
Ridge Racer.
Yeah. And Smuggler's Run. That was a big Rockstar game. As far as like, this is them really showing off this open world kind of engine, and then eventually coming out with GTA. But yeah, you could drive around, and I know this gets a lot of praise like after the fact of just what they could do with this game.
Oh, I just have a really positive PlayStation memory. I had this kid would come visit his grandparents every summer, and like we just rent consoles from Blockbuster, which was the thing you could do.
You could, yeah. And, did you have to do a deposit? I know there was a place in town, and it was like the price of the console.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like, I'll just buy this thing.
So yeah, we'd rent that, and I remember we played a shit ton of Star Wars, like Episode 1. Like it was it was the story of Episode 1, and it was a terrible game.
Sure,
but it looked amazing. There's this one game you should look up called Bouncer. Look up Bouncer PS2. This was like one of the most anime beat 'em ups. And I definitely remember the boob physics. Like as a kid, I'm like, what are these weird feelings? Why do my pants tingle?
Can you leave the room? Because I want to play this game.
Oh yeah, you'd pick your characters. God, it looks like something out of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so it's a beat 'em up.
Yeah,
it was Streets of Rage 3D.
Dope looking beat 'em up. Which, bear in mind, this was, I want to say, very early.
This looks like a Tekken like quality of beat 'em up. So there's more players on screen.
There were crazy amounts of combos and stuff you could do. And there was like, I think the really cool one was like, you could do a combo with your buddy. And I think you could work in the third buddy. So you could pull off this crazy 3-person power move that was super, super badass.
Nice. Did you have any desire to get a PS2, or was it more of like you guys would rent it?
I didn't have enough money.
Gotcha.
I don't think I had that like current gen of consoles till way late. Like everyone had like Xboxes and Halos, and I finally got like the GameCube.
Yeah, did you get to experience like having a lot of these consoles when you were a kid, or you really just got to try them at other people's houses?
Yeah, just tried them till, I mean, it wasn't till high school when I could actually afford shit.
Gotcha. Was your mom really not down with like, trying to convince her? Like that's always the plight as a kid, is trying to convince your parents to put the money down for these things. Was she just like not having it?
We just didn't have enough money.
Gotcha.
So I mean, we were all right. We weren't poor, but like she was a single mom.
But yeah, this is not a priority for your dumbass kid. But
yeah,
I know at one point I got a Nintendo 64, and I think it was like through some weird deal. My mom knew someone, and something fell off a truck, or my uncle knew someone, so we got it. But
my uncle's uncle at Nintendo.
Yeah, we got that 64 like 2 years after it came out. So looking back, we were seriously lucky, and I wish I had that same contact so I could get some of these newer consoles off the back of a truck. But yeah, so the PS2, I definitely missed it. I saved enough money and bought an Xbox when it came out, but I first bought a PS2 instead. I went to Toys R Us, where you had to go grab the little ticket off the wall and then go somewhere and they'd give you the. Yeah, remember that? Went to Toys R Us, RIP, and bought the PS2. Got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 or 3. I think it was 3. Got it. Went to my Grams, and I was talking with my uncle and stuff. And my other uncle, who would come in every once in a while, he was talking a lot of shit about it. He's like, "Oh, you want a PS2? You want an Xbox? Xboxes are like PCs. You can play TurboTax. You can do all this stuff on it."
You can play TurboTax.
He was really hyping it up to be this PC thing that can do what consoles can't. So he really like got into my head. It's like, I think I need to take this back. I think I made a mistake. So it was that same day we went back. I bought an Xbox instead. Of course, it did none of the things he said it could do. He was just talking out of his ass. But I got to, by making that decision, I ended up playing Halo, playing a lot of other cool Xbox games. I played Half-Life 2 when it was ported to Xbox. So I'm glad I made that decision, but I almost went full force into the PS2, and it's just a done deal. But I know it was a big deal when the PS2 came out. It had a DVD drive, and that was just like a super new technology, and it was cheap enough to where it was actually a deal to get the PS2 because it was a cheaper DVD player.
Which is weird because they're not quite going that route with the new PS5. Like it's got this super high like I don't know about super high, but it's got a
4K.
high definition, 4K Blu-ray drive, but
it's just a different world because everybody's streaming now. So it's like, I think 90% of people, or 70% of people are like, I'd rather just stream my stuff than have an actual disc drive. I'm kind of going that way where like I used to collect Blu-rays, but now I just stream everything. It's just so easy, and I'll even like buy digital content through like through Amazon or through Google, and so I've just kind of gone full force that direction. But I used to collect stuff, and now I'm just not interested.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of people are like that.
Well, I mean, still, like, at least, like, again, it would be nice to be the cheaper option. When I looked at, do I want the disc drive version of the PlayStation, or do I want the regular? Like, it's $100 more for a disc drive, whereas if I go buy a Blu-ray player, it's $80 to $100. So
yeah, I think it's kind of what you're into or what appeals to you. Some people, even if they're not going to use the 4K Blu-ray drive ability, they want to have their physical games, which I get. I don't follow that same mindset, but yeah, because especially with the PS4, I've just been downloading everything, and there's so many good deals on PSN. It's like it's the best time right now to be a gamer, where there's, I think, the cheaper route to do that. I also don't have to go wait in line at a GameStop with all these kids around waiting in line to like hopefully get $5 back on my game. It's like I'll just download stuff.
I feel like this game has been looping. Like, have you been rewinding this footage?
Or
no,
I think it's
seriously been.
I think the levels are the same. You're just the same kind of a combat, and this at least this level itself is very generic. Okay, you're in this cool like. We're
in the train now. Alley. Did we miss the titties? I think you skipped forward.
I think you imagine the titties. It's just some.
No, I remember they had jiggly physics.
Okay,
but we didn't have enough processing power at that point for
like one boob at a time.
I didn't realize Dead or Alive was the first game to have independent boob physics. And then I remember hearing that, I'm like, what? This game totally had it. And I went back and watched. I'm like, no, her boobs. Like, I think they simulate one boob and just had the other do the exact same thing.
This is straight up Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, right.
Just like more adult. He's got this huge chain with a hoodie but no shirt.
I mean, it's the same kind of color scheme as Sora as well, and the same hair.
That's super interesting.
Riku. Yeah, I mean,
God bless Japan for working on boob physics before anything else.
This guy has fucking devil horns.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got to play this. These like weirder games, this is not that weird, but it reminds me of trying to rent at Blockbuster on my Xbox, trying to rent BMX XXX. Do you remember that game?
Which isn't even like, the whole thing was censored.
Right, so there wasn't. You know what? The only place it got a little dicey was they'd have FMV footage of like strip clubs, but they were always they were dressed, but it was like this weird strip club stuff that would play for some reason in between games.
Nice.
But I remember trying to rent that, but also trying to like
pause it. Can't pause it.
I was never able to rent it because trying to explain to my mom, because of course at Blockbuster, like the person working would be like, hey, just so you know, your kid's gonna be jerking it to this game.
Right.
And so you can't like.
And we were. Is this how we get banned from Twitch right here?
Yeah, they're clothed, but yeah, I'll whoopsie daisy. But this is one of the cutscenes that they would play, and so you're right. The stuff is censored, the actual like gameplay. But it was one of those just like trying to be raunchy for the sake of being raunchy games.
I hear the gameplay was terrible.
Yeah, because it's just a crappy like reskin of BMX games or Tony Hawk games. Yeah. They're covering the nipples there, but.
They're covering the nips.
Yeah, it was just like trying to be outrageous, and beyond that, I don't think there's anything of substance with this game.
I think there was a PC version where they could be new, because like PC was like treated so differently. You had to go into like that weird computer music store at the mall if you wanted to get the nudie games with your God, what was that one guy called?
What, your stepdad or
Leisure Suit Larry?
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah. Those also pushed it, but they were cartoony. But yeah, they still did the boobies and all that like raunchy stuff. And yeah, no, there's I think I was thinking like, are those games, have they gone away? But really, that Steam has all kinds of stuff like that. It's just they're not popular.
Got the hentai.
Yeah,
yeah. No, it's popular. It's got a big audience. I mean, clearly these things keep coming out.
Yep. Yeah. So. So God bless PS2, came out 20 years ago. If you didn't want to feel old, now you do. Because that doesn't feel like 20 years passed, but it did apparently. But yeah, Gavin, that's all I got for you this week. Got any gaming plans coming up? Anything on your radar?
We're going to build this PC.
Yeah, when you gotta buy something, you gotta buy the case. You gotta buy.
Yeah, I told my coworker who was looking at the specs today. I'm like, I'm gonna need every day I come in. I'm gonna need you to say, "What'd you buy for your PC?" Yeah. So we didn't go skydiving, so that's $200 towards.
There you go.
Next week, if we can, I'm gonna be like, sorry, spent on PC. I went to the CPU.
Yeah, I know. It's coming up. What's the big one? Cyberpunk's coming up very soon. So you want to kind of get your stuff dialed in and get that PC going. And
I mean, I totally play Watch Dogs in the meantime. It sounds like Watch Dogs again. I may wait on the reviews, but like,
I think it'd be safe to do that.
If it's a good chunk of what they've promised, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of so I was watching RTX comparison earlier today too, but they're showing off a lot of footage. This game's coming out very soon. It's, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's on my radar, but I'm interested to see what people think of it. Is actually, do they push the envelope with what they're promising with the NPCs? And otherwise, seems like similar gameplay from the last one, but I think that NPC kind of thing is a game changer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see what people think about it. I don't know if I'll begin this day one. I think if I had to choose, I'm going to go with Valhalla if I'm going to get any kind of like open world game in the next couple months here.
I mean, it's really too bad they kind of pit two of their major.
Yeah, you think kind of stagger them a little bit,
especially with Cyberpunk coming in there.
Like, yeah, and it's gonna eat everybody's lunch.
And if by some crazy happenstance it doesn't eat anyone's lunch, then Ubisoft just comes here and cleans up.
I don't need that negativity in my house, man.
I ain't need that negativity in my house either. All right. Whoa! Did they just change heads? Is that what just happened?
I don't know. Or hair?
Scrub back. What the fuck happened? They took off their mask, maybe.
Maybe.
Whoa, so we got reflection. That was neat.
Right?
Okay, so they did have a mask on.
Okay.
They still got, you can see, I want to say a little bit of the hair.
Yeah, they might be using the RTX stuff.
It's like a tag.
Yeah, like a ponytail or a tag or something. It's almost like a GIMP mask or something.
Yeah, I like that you're in a gunfight over here and then you're just going to walk back on the street. No one's gonna notice.
Your gun just disappears. And
it's just perfectly acceptable. Did she take out the vest too, or did I?
I think it was just the mask. Yeah, the luchador mask or whatever.
The luchador.
Alrighty, Gavin. Yeah, we'll end it there for the week. Where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs.
Awesome. You can keep up with the show as well on Twitter at PlasticCardPod. That's it for us this week. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.